Summer League is here. NBA basketball is back in Denver, and we had quite the game yesterday. AJ Bouye with the game winner to put the game away when it looked like the Nuggets were about to get their first Summer League win of the year. But maybe there's some bigger storylines to take out of that. DaRon Holmes makes his return after tearing his Achilles last year in game one of Summer League. Do we have a star in their role? Maybe, perhaps, on the way. We're going to talk about that. Talk about lineup versatility with the Denver Nuggets. We're also going to talk about what the depth chart might look like this upcoming season. Y'all, that's Ryan. This is Swipa, Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? This is Locked On Nuggets. This is your daily Denver Nuggets show / podcast on YouTube and Apple and Spotify. Y'all, we're so glad to be here with you today, y'all. This is going to be an incredible show. I'm with one of my best friends in the business. Y'all, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. All right, y'all. We got a lot of stuff to get into. I will say, when the season ended, I was like, you know what? There's not going to be a lot of content. Are the eyeballs going to be the same? Are the views going to be the same? Are the people going to be as interested to tune in into a Denver Nuggets show, given that they lost in the second round again? Dare I say, we've had fireworks for the past couple of weeks.
Great.
And honestly, I want to say thank you all so much for engaging with the videos, engaging with the podcast, the downloads, and the watches. They have been going crazy because of you all. And guess what? We have so much more to tap into. We have an interview we're not even going to cover today that we're going to talk about next week. But we're going to talk about DaRon Holmes. We're going to talk about Summer League today. Ryan, number one, how are you doing today? And man, how did it feel to get Denver Nuggets basketball last night?
And I'm good. I got my steps in today. Very excited to get out. Everybody like looking at me. Wow, you're looking a little red, Ryan. Well, that's because it's been sunny and bright in Denver, except for yesterday. But very excited to get back into kind of the game mode, the swing of things. We'll see how it continues to look and how Summer League continues to like progress, because usually it gets a little bit worse and worse as things go along. And so we'll see what ultimately it becomes. But we got some excitement in the very first game in the form of DaRon Holmes making his Summer League debut, man. And it was a lot of fun to watch. I just very happy for him in general to get back into the swing of things, to just get back on the court and be healthy. But more than that, he looked like he could play. He looked like he could do stuff. And that was just in his first game back.
Yeah, so I think I was actually really encouraged, and there's some stuff I want to talk about just in pertaining to his game overall. But if you didn't get a chance to watch the game, it was actually a really good game. The Nuggets were down in the first half by like a good bit. At the halftime, it just didn't look like they didn't have a point guard. It was just kind of all over the place. You don't really know what you're going to get from Summer League basketball, and you got a chance to see Hunter Tyson kind of as the main option for the team. Things didn't look super great. He was chucking. I heard people in the comments saying that he looked like trying to be like Larry Bird out there. He definitely, was kind of trying to force issues the main option. Spencer Jones got a lot of time last night. Tyrell Harrison got some time. We got the start yesterday. So they had a lot of different people that are trying to contribute to the overall flow of the game. Reese Beekman. But the story of the hour for me was DaRon Holmes. And one of the reasons is that not only is his return and him being in a situation where he's able to play NBA basketball again, but Ryan, 6'10", 6'9.5", mobile. I saw some offensive creating out of him yesterday, like just off the dribble, him being able to get to the line, him being able to get downhill, him able to get just off the creation, pump fake, drive, blow by. He even had a little bit of a whoop whoop to get to the basket and finish weak side. Like, he just looks like a player that you can understand what Calvin Booth in the front office was thinking. That this is a tall, rangy athlete that honestly looks like a real shooter Ryan Blackburn. And that was probably one of my biggest takeaways, is that he's this big. He's already a good rim protector. And as he gets further away from the Achilles injury, he'll get even more mobile like he was prior to it. But man, you can just see the archetype for what he is and how useful he could end up being to this team.
For sure. You could still see him thinking out there a little bit, whether it was with the movement or just trying to keep up with the speed of the game. And like, it's not something that he's going to be used to. It's going to be something that he has to learn and relearn in order to play at a high level. But the natural talent clearly there. The shot was really good. I was like, that's one of those things, is like a 6'9", 6'10" guy. You're not expecting that to translate immediately. You're expecting that to be a little bit more shaky, but that might be the best part of his game right now, except for some rim protection and some ability to disrupt shots and be able to get in guys' way on the defensive side of things. I thought that looked really good. And then, like you said, using the ability of the jumper and using his actual spacing to create off the dribble and to get to the rack and to create some good looks. That was really cool. So can he do that at the NBA level? It remains to be seen. Well, we'll see what it looks like, but I can see him filling an Aaron Gordon role, man. Like that seems very ideal for somebody of his skill set, for somebody of his size, to be able to both kind of operate in the dunker, and then like there's just so much more that I think we can see from his game. I'm very excited to watch him unfold.
One of the things about this era of basketball, y'all, is that if you're going to be a big in this league, gone are the days, I think, Ryan, of just, unless you're just like a Derek Lively and you're just an insane vertical finisher, shot blocker. You really don't have players that are tall that can't do more than just finishing around the rim offensively. You really do have to have a little bit of punch to your bag, a little bit of sizzle in your steak. And watching him play yesterday, the fact of the matter is that you're able to hit those kind of transition pull-up threes from your 4 or 5 in this NBA. That's a weapon. Being able to beat a closeout, take a hard dribble, 2 gather steps, get to the rim for a lay or for a dunk, you need to be able to do that. Or if you get into a tight spot, being able to drive past your defender and then finish with a nice underhanded lay, like kind of like a Nas Reed. Or, Ryan, you get in the middle of the floor, you picked up your dribble, but you need to figure out, okay, what's the best option to be able to get the ball down to the paint to help your smaller player be able to finish over a big. Like, just so many different things I think I saw and I'm excited for, and I really want to talk about like what kind of versatility he's going to bring overall to the team. But Ryan, based on what you saw yesterday outside of him, was there anybody else that kind of stood out to you from the Denver Nuggets rotation?
Tyrell Harrison played very big. Like that's one thing that stood out, especially like early on in the game, he struggled, but a lot of Denver's mechanisms for how they were playing were going through him. It was Reese Beekman and Tyrell Harrison running pick and roll, and you've got Hunter Tyson, Spencer Jones, DaRon Holmes kind of operating and orbiting around them, which was like, all right, not ideal for your main roster guys to show exactly what they can do. Hunter, I think, was kind of in a tough position because when you are the first option in these cases, the team is going to look for you. They're going to look to you to just create something out of nothing. That's just not really his game, although he did start off things pretty well with the three-pointer that he had. I'm not willing to write him off entirely based off of one game, I'll say. And then EJ Liddell coming off the bench, I was pretty impressed with the way that he looked. He had that ultimately unfortunate game-winning, like not game-winning, but like the offensive rebound tip dunk, basically, that then he got crossed up and Bouye hit a 3 over him at the other end. But it was still really interesting to see, like, they credited Liddell with 7 offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And like, I remember him coming out of college and thinking, okay, this is like a Paul Millsap type. This is a power forward. This is traditional big, like somebody who might have to transition down to center. He looks smaller. He looks like he's athletic and ready to move from a small forward position. So like I thought that was pretty interesting and something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Look, on the other side, we're going to have some fun. I want to talk about DaRon's fit with this team. And I know we're projecting a little bit, but hey, it's the summer. It's summer league. We're going to have some crazy conversations about where this could go from me. But, Gloom on the other end, he's probably going to end up playing backup point guard. Something like that from Ryan Blackburn. Who knows what you're going to hear from him on the other side here at Locked On Nuggets. Y'all, this is one of my favorite times of the year. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Now, Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the wearing out of buying. Now, Gametime is also the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game. Look, it is All-Star Weekend here in Atlanta, y'all, and I'm telling you right now, I am going to be looking for the best possible ticket, man. All-Star in Atlanta, huge deal. If you're in Denver and you're in Colorado and you want to watch the Colorado Rockies play, this is the app to use. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LLC, KEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Hey, we'll be right back for more Locked On Nuggets. We are back here, segment 2 of Locked On Nuggets, here with Ryan Blackburn and Swipa. So glad to be here with you today. If you're listening to this on Apple iTunes and Spotify, give us a 5-star review. Really helps us out getting the show out there more and more. And if we're watching and say, who are those great-looking NBA analysts, give us a 5-star and also give us a like, share, and subscribe. Let the people know you love getting your Denver Nuggets content from Locked On NBA with Ryan Blackburn, Matt Moore, and Swipa. All right, y'all. So we're to the juicy part of the show. Ryan, I'm going to say it like this.
Yes, sir.
And you tell me if you think I'm tripping. Based on some projection, which, hey. If DaRon Holmes is on the team last year in the playoffs, I think he makes a difference. Not saying they win game 7 with the injuries with Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. I do think he makes a difference to have a big that can floor space and shoot and rim protect and run. I am willing to say at this point, I think that he is going to be a certified top 10 rotation player for this roster. And there will be situations where he's going to finish the game as like the 6th or 7th best player on the floor based on what he has in front of him. Now, this doesn't mean a lot of games, but I'm saying there will be games where the just total package of athleticism, of shooting, the connected passing, the alley-oops from Jamal Murray or Bruce Brown or Jokic, I think that the vertical spacing and the shooting and the defense, you don't really have that on a roster outside of Aaron Gordon, I would say, because Peyton Watson doesn't fit all those things either. Really, it's him and it's Aaron that kind of fit this archetype, and Zeke Naji, I guess, technically. But obviously Zeke just, he just lost his way shooting and all that. I think, honestly, that DaRon Holmes could be a really big fit for this team this year.
It's awesome to think about. And it's like the fact that you could say that and it can't be left off the floor. Like, I think that is an important thing for Denver from a depth standpoint. Like, people forget that, yeah, Denver's roster wasn't great last year and the depth was not good last year. It was actually pretty poor. But one of the reasons why was because DaRon Holmes was not healthy. He was not available. And had he been available for the entire year, it probably doesn't make much of a difference, but it makes some. It makes some. And so I do think that, yeah, 10th might be aggressive based off of who we're talking about here, because then
give me the rotation then.
Oh, are we doing this now? Okay.
I mean, we don't have to do it now. We don't have
No, we should. We should.
Okay.
We're here. So we've got the 5 starters of Murray, Brown, I was going to say Porter, Murray, Brown, Johnson, Gordon, Jokic. That's going to be your 5. They're going to play the most.
I mean, hey, DaRon Holmes, a center that can rim protect, and
my
hey,
God.
Jokic, man, might need to go to the bench. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Come on, man. CT's popping in here, says, Ryan, where's the rotation chart? I don't know, man. I was walking. We'll save the rotation charts for future shows. I'm okay. Bruce Brown, I think, is your sixth man. I do think that's pretty. It's not lock stone, because I think that there are ways where, like, Jalen Pickett could carve a role into being backup point guard specifically. And then they decide, okay, we'd rather play Bruce Brown at the 2. And then it kind of shifts some things. Like, I think that's at least a world where that happens. I don't think I certainly wouldn't expect it, but it's at least possible. But I will say Bruce, probably the sixth man. Seventh man, I think it's still Peyton Watson. I think so. Eighth man, probably Tim Hardaway Jr. or Jonas Valanciunas, one of those two. And then the other is the ninth man. That would be my expectation. And then you start getting to 10. You're like, okay, who do we not include? Well, you could either go with your traditional backup power forward in DaRon Holmes, or you go with Julian Strawther. And that, to me, is the conversation, is where it starts.
All right, so, we'll just do this now. We'll just talk about some variables to it. So when I listed out my rotation chart in terms of positional rotation, Jamal Murray and Bruce Brown are your point guards. Okay. I think Christian Brown, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Julian Strawther are your shooting guards.
Yeah.
I think Cameron Johnson, Peyton Watson, and really it's going to be a mix of Tim Hardaway Jr. and Julian Strawther. Those are your small forwards. Like, they're all going to play that spot.
They'll play some 3-guard lineups for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Power forward is going to be Aaron Gordon. I think DaRon Holmes is going to be the backup to AG, and then Zeke Naji.
I think you got to include Peyton Watson in that as well. There will be some Peyton Watson 4 lineups, and you may not like it, but it's going to happen.
Sure. That's fair.
Yeah.
And then I got Jokic and maybe Jonas, maybe Al Horford, maybe
it's going to be Jonas. I think we're now at that stage where that looks likely.
Yeah. Well, who knows? It's going to be.
It'd be exciting, man. He's good. He's a good backup.
No, I'm just saying I have no idea. I don't want to speak on a player that the trade hadn't been confirmed yet.
Okay, yeah.
No. Right. So, but you know what's funny is last year the exact same rotation. I got this from NBA Chicken. Shout out, been a very loyal Twitter voice for a while.
Shout out Chicken.
Jamal Murray, Christian Brown, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Nikola Jokic. That was the starting 5 last year.
Yep.
The backups, as ESPN listed, Trey Alexander, backup point guard. Okay.
Okay. Can we include Russell Westbrook in that?
Well, no, I'm not done yet, because this is from the graphic from Summer League. Russ was not yet on the team.
Oh, okay.
Right. So Trey Alexander, Julian Strawther at the 2, Hunter Tyson at the 3, and then Peyton Watson at the 4, and then Dario Saric at the 5. That was the backup unit last year. Yep. Can you just take a pause there, Ryan? All they added, the only thing that was added to that was Russell Westbrook.
I know.
That's it. That was their bench. It was Russell Westbrook, Strawther, Tyson, Watson, Saric, Naji, Pickett. That was their bench.
Yeah. I assumed during the regular season they would add somebody, and the fact that they couldn't was malpractice. Like, that was bad.
I just think that if you just think about this, chat, and all our listeners that are listening to this after the fact, I want you to just go to my page, go to Ryan's page when he makes his, he decides he wants to work and make his depth chart and all that kind of stuff. Go look at these pages, and I want you just to stare at them. Look how many options you have. Like, now people are like, oh, is Julian Strawther, is he in the rotation this year? Ryan's like, I don't know. Is Peyton Watson, is he in the rotation this year? Maybe.
Julian Strawther was definitely the 8th man in the rotation last year. Like, definitely, 100%.
And I think this is where we're in a new place. And I actually think that DaRon Holmes would have been a big part of that. But I think DaRon Holmes, because they have more depth this year, he is going to be allowed to move along as a basketball player at a much slower pace. And I think that's going to help him so much in his development. But I think, Ryan, by the time we get to midseason, Lord willing, he's healthy, I think he's going to play a really big role for this team.
I'm hoping so. Like that's the brightest timeline, right? Is that like because I do think that there is a world where he plays some 5-2. And like people don't want to hear that. And like it's especially with the Zeke Najee conversation, everybody's like, no, you can't have your backup power forward play backup center too. Like, holy crap, that's just like not even reasonable. But no, it is reasonable to think of DaRon as playing some backup 5 because he can handle that opportunity. He can handle that responsibility both on the offensive and defensive standpoint. And like the offensive mechanisms, the pick and pops, the pick and roll, getting it out to him, and then him driving closeouts and things like that. That's stuff that Zeke Najee would not be able to do. And so it's one of the reasons why people are like, absolutely not. But DaRon can do that. It's everything that he did at Dayton. And I think that that's something that they should be trying to explore behind Nikola Jokic in those minutes, because you need a big body, like which they've got with Jonas. You might need a small body too. So I think that there's something to be said there.
Look, we're going to finish this, talk about this more on the other side here at Locked On Nuggets. We're back here for the final segment of Locked On Nuggets for Ryan Blackburn and Swipa. We're talking about the Denver Nuggets depth chart and rotation, and really essentially the DaRon Holmes. What is he going to be able to add to this roster? And to your point, Ryan, as you were finishing in the last segment, DaRon playing the 5, Ryan, I'm fine with that. But hey, do you know why? Because that means you put him there. Oh, but AG, you can play some 4 with him. Hey, Cameron Johnson, you can play some 4-3 with him. Tim Hardaway Jr., Julian Strawther, like whatever you want to do. Jamal Murray. Hey, Bruce Brown. Hey, Christian Brown. That's the whole point. It's like you can make it work within the construct of a lineup as opposed to having to pigeonhole him into being a 5. And I think that's when you do malpractice to a player. That if you wanted Zeke Najee to be a 5, well, you gradually help him get there. But you make sure if he doesn't do it well, you make him a 4 by having another center on the roster.
Right.
And I think Denver, this is the first time I think they're trying to, accurately develop both Peyton Watson into a 3-4, if that's what they want. And then I think DaRon Holmes taking that step into that position of potentially being a small ball 5. I just think that this roster is going to give them so much lineup versatility. And I'm really excited to kind of see Aaron Gordon and Holmes, because now you have like 2 very long, rangy athletes, and I think can really complement each other. And I think if you put Cam Johnson in that role with them, or you put the Bruce Brown minutes, with that kind of a player, there's just so many different kinds of things that you can do with that in terms of just setting some of these down screens. They can run off of them. You set some of these little backside screens where they're just getting out, they're leaking outside to the corner off a Bruce Brown drive. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this all works. And man, I just think that like, this is for me when I think about why OKC was so good. They just had options. And I think, I don't remember who exactly it was, but obviously because they both went to Dayton, but Obi Toppin, I saw somebody say that like this is supposed to be the Denver Nuggets Obi Toppin basically with DaRon Holmes. It's just having this really, really, really kind of great athlete at the 4 that allows for you to do different things, but also can shoot. And you saw Obi Toppin in the NBA Finals made a big difference, and he gave OKC a lot of problems. I just think that they didn't have the top-end talent to hang with OKC. But I think Denver, having Jokic and Murray and the rest of them, I think that's why he could end up being a really important piece for even just some of the non-starter minutes for this team in particular.
One of the big weaknesses that we saw in the playoffs was whenever Denver went away from their starters, it didn't really matter what the lineup was. It was just bad. Like it was just not a great lineup, not a consistent lineup, whatever they ended up going to, because the depth was just not fully ready to go. You hope that with another year that guys like Strawther and Watson are ready to go and kind of be put into that. But having the optionality is really, really important when the playoffs come around. Like they'll be able to get through the regular season now without having to stress those guys out too much. That's at least the hope. But the major question, like you're talking about, is okay. OKC, when they faced Denver, played big Jalen Williams a lot. He didn't play in any of those other series. Like that just wasn't like what they needed. They wanted to go smaller. They needed only 2 bigs. They did not need 3. But against Denver, you needed as much size to kind of get through that as possible, because like they had to kind of fight through that. So like DaRon Holmes being somebody that You don't have to play him at all in
Yeah.
the playoffs. It's not a requirement. But if he makes himself available to the point where he's good enough that you have that opportunity to do it, that's the best possible outcome. Like, he doesn't need to pencil himself into the playoff rotation immediately. I wouldn't expect that. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Zeke Najee's presence on the roster will be an inhibitor for DaRon? Because like Zeke is he's more of a veteran. He's going to be better defensively initially. He's like, especially if you move into the power forward position exclusively next to Valanciunas, maybe some of Zeke's better traits come out. Like, do you think that there's a world where DaRon just doesn't play as much and Zeke is playing?
I think that there's a world where they both play together. And I think that's entirely contingent on Zeke Najee. Remember, we had a stretch last year, for a month, Ryan, where Zeke was playing, I think, really well.
Yeah.
And he was contributing. And I think everybody kind of remembers the Detroit Pistons game. Remember, Zeke had 3 blocks in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And he was just like a manimal everywhere. I mean, there's a world where those players play well together because you got 2 really athletic 4-5s. And now you're running all over a team. You're switching everything. And now you got rim protection from both angles. So I don't think it's going to inhibit DaRon Holmes. I just think it's more so the defense in the contract that Zeke Naji has inhibits the Nuggets. But I don't think that is something that's going to affect him, because I think Zeke, the coaches that have been here the entire time Zeke has been in-house. So they know exactly what he is, what he can't do, what he struggles with. And honestly, he just spaces out sometimes, and he just doesn't fully comprehend like what this play or what this situation is requiring of him. And on top of that, if his shooting woes continue, he's just not playing. So I think that if Zeke Naji takes a step this year, Ryan, which again, this is year 6 for him, I think.
It'll be year 6, and it'll be good if that were to happen. I'm trying to put it out there because I mean, when you put out the depth chart and kind of your way of framing it with Jamal and Bruce at the 1, you've got the 3 shooting guards, Brown, Strother, and Tim Hardaway. You've got 2 small forwards in Cam Johnson and Peyton Watson. You've got 3 power forwards in Aaron Gordon, Zeke Naji, and DaRon Holmes.
Yeah.
So it's just very possible to me that DaRon becomes the 3rd guy in that, or at least starts the year as the 3rd guy in that. And everybody's like, hey, what the hell? Why is Zeke playing over DaRon? We're so excited about that. It is just kind of natural practice for a team to do that, though, especially with a young guy who may not quite be ready.
Do you think in the more stable situation like this, Zeke could pop out this year?
Yeah, I think that there's no doubt that he could.
What is his biggest issue for you?
I'm not sure that he's a good enough shooter to handle power forward pretty consistently. The actual shooting numbers that he put out last year, I think they were pretty solid in February and pretty poor at other points. I think that his actual skill set when switching and guarding onto most other guards in the NBA, most other bigs in the NBA, it's not necessarily great. Like, he can guard those guys in the middle, but not necessarily anybody that's really attacking him hard. But like, the offensive responsibility for me is like, he's just going to give it back to people. He is not going to be somebody that you can put into a position where he's a part of the primary action on a consistent basis and ask him to handle it. So I don't know if they trust him fully, whether it's the coaches or the players, but I do think that's in year 6, like, you better hope that you're getting something, and like, he's put into a position, and maybe this is the better position for him to do that.
But even then, I think what's the upside of this season is, okay, Ryan, he doesn't have to play, but you know what? He will, because, hey, we want to go 11 deep. We want to go 12 deep. Like,
they should want to do that for what
we're playing Utah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry. We don't need Jokic for 38 minutes in this game. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need the starters and Jamal Murray playing 34, 36 minutes. Zeke Naji, you and Holmes, you and Bruce, you and Hardaway, you and Julian Strother, go make it up.
Yeah.
Go make up some offense. You know what I mean? Like, go play basketball. This is what it is. Go hoop and do your job and do what you need to do. And I think, again, could the fringes of the roster of the players that I name are Watson, Strother, and Zeke.
Pickett too.
Well, I think Pickett's not even in my rotation. He's in the reserve. But I think him and Tyson are in the reserve area for me right now. But Pickett too. But I think Pickett too is like another one. Like, now Pickett can continue to develop. Maybe he does. And, you know, he had some good moments this last year. But I think Bruce is going to handle a lot of that backup ball handling responsibility. So I think all of them, from Pickett to Tyson to Zeke, I mean, they're really going to have to get out and earn their minutes. And the only way they do it is by playing consistent and doing their job. And I think Julian Strawther, man, you haven't had an elite shooting season yet. But that's what you're known as. You got to be able to do it.
Yeah.
It has to happen for Julian this year as well.
Let me ask you this, a little trivia here. Jokic played 70 games. He averaged about 36.7 minutes per game, I want to say. How many of those games did he play over 35 minutes?
Of the 70?
Of the 70.
52?
You are right on the money.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
It is 52. He played 64 games with at least 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he never, and I repeat, never played under 28 minutes in a single game.
But I think if I remember correctly, he sat out 12 4 quarters though. Remember, there was that streak where they started going, and all of a sudden it was like the Nuggets are like, oh wow, this team looks really good. But to your point, remember in December, he was averaging 40 minutes a game through December. And it was just like,
it's like this is not stable. And lo and behold, it was very difficult for him to continuously fight Alex Caruso and the OKC hounding defense because he just gets tired. And that's just how it is. Like you got to make it as easy as possible in the regular season so he can go into absolute annihilation mode in the playoffs.
So you know what I saw? I don't know if you saw on Twitter. I shared the clip of the Clippers series. Remember Russ hit the corner 3 in game 1?
Yeah.
And then right before overtime, he had the ball again, then kind of fumbled it and all that stuff.
I do remember that one. I was there for that one. That one was wild.
I'm just thinking, man, like this year, if it's not, it's going to be Cameron Johnson in the corner. But look, if Brown doesn't have it, he's not hitting shots that day, then they're going to be able to put in, I think, Tim Hardaway Jr. They're going to be able to put in Bruce Brown. They're going to be able to put in Julian Strawther. I just think the team is just going to be in such a different place, man. I just think it's going to be a healthier unit. Because guess what? To Matt's point, teams have now figured out not how to stop, but how to guard the two-man game, and especially when you don't have the shooting around it that you need, and really the release valve, which is the Russell Westbrook role last year. Well, we're just going to pre-send help at the two-man, and then you're not ever going to get any lobs, anything going inside. And I think now when teams, elite defenses are guarding Denver, they're going to have to guard them like a real NBA team now. And I actually think this is going to help Jamal and Jokic a lot. But we'll see.
The other thing is just like you want to have iron sharpening iron in this case. And having so many much better options will force those guys to be better if they want to get on the floor. Whether it's Watson, whether it's Strawther, whether it's DaRon, whether it's Pickett, like whoever it is coming off the bench, they're going to have to be better. They're going to have to earn it in order to get to that place. So I'm excited, man. DaRon Holmes, exciting debut, and hopefully we get some stuff from some of the other guys.
Let us know what you think in the comment section. How did you feel about DaRon Holmes' play yesterday? Anybody else from the Denver Nuggets in Summer League that you saw that impressed you in game 1? What do you think the Nuggets rotation should be next year? And do you think Holmes will play a big part in the Nuggets' success? That's Ryan. This is Swipa. Y'all know what time it is. Locked On Nuggets. See you on the other side.